views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola, everyone. Welcome to Open, the one and only show bringing the best of the Bronx, New York, and the world straight to you. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. We learn about En Foco's 2019 Fellowship Exhibition. Subject does not equal object. And we'll discuss its many themes and more when we sit with the curator and an artist. After that, we sit with the Salsa Project NYC founder, Brandon the Salsa Pops Espinosa, to discuss the collective's mission preserving the history and culture of salsa. Then we'll speak to Ojala Threads founder Ramona Ferreira about her non-toxic baby bodysuits, brand Ojala, and the unique plan she has for the Bronx community. And then we'll sit down with actress Javana Mundy to discuss her journey through the arts, leading her to a storytelling career as an actress, along with her upcoming projects. Later on in the show, Bobby C brings us up to date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And finally, this week's Open Artis Spotlight features poet and community organizer Samson, who will perform a new song off his upcoming album. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is headed your way, because now we are officially open. Welcome to Open. I'm Rhina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV, or like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, while you're there, don't forget, follow moi on Twitter, FB, Instagram, Insta Stories, LinkedIn, and Snapchat at Rhina Valentin. As the Café con Leche herself, I'm so excited to see what's brewing at Mon Amour Coffee and Wine, known for its French flavor and pastries, but it's populated by coffee lovers. Let's take a look. Mon ami?
Good morning, Rhina. I'm here at Mon Amour Coffee and Wine with owner Jeffrey Garcia. Jeffrey, thank you so much for being here with us today. Can you tell me a little bit about Mon Amour?
Thank you, and thank you guys for being here with us. Mon Amour was started in 2015, and it was a little bit of a scare when we first started opening up. We didn't know how the community was going to respond to this type of coffee and wine shop, but it's been great. The community has definitely accepted us, and they really love our place, and they find this like a little home away from home when they come in.
So you guys serve coffee and wine. Can you tell me a little bit about your decision to serve both?
Yes, basically we want to wake you up in the morning and then put you to bed at night. So, but no, the idea originally was going to be just to open up a wine bar. However, looking at the area and looking at the cost of rent, we said, you know what, why don't we take advantage of the mornings as well? You pay rent all day, so let's take advantage of the mornings, and that's what we did. So we met with some high-end coffee roasters, and we finally made a decision and went with Joe Coffee, who's originally from Brooklyn, and we wanted to make sure we kept it with a local. We wanted to keep local within New York City coffee, and that's what we did.
And how does Mon Amour stay involved with the Bronx community?
Well, we have a series of different events that we do. We also do and donate to a lot of charities within the Bronx. And every other Tuesday we have open mic, which goes really well. This Tuesday is actually open mic, so come on in, check it out. We do that with a community-based Art in the Basin, This young lady, Amy Joy, does it, and it works really well. The people really come in and they really enjoy it, and you know what? They get a chance to, you know, speak their mind. And it's the one cool thing is that it's the only open mic without a mic. So we actually call it more like a pen mic.
And do you guys have any plans for expanding?
Yes, actually, we just signed the lease a couple of months ago in Sawyer Place. There's these two new developments that are going up in the Yonkers waterfront area, and hopefully bring that same excitement that we brought here to the Riverdale Kingsbridge area, to the Yonkers waterfront Sawyer Place.
So tell me a little bit about the name Mon Amour. How did you come up with that?
Mon Amour, that was actually a friend of mine's partner at the time, and it basically, Mon Amour, comes from the French, my love, and it's my love for coffee and wine.
And tell me a little bit about the community here. Have they been really receptive? Are they excited?
The community has been great. They have been really receptive. They really enjoy what we've done here. They enjoy the space. It feels like home away from home, you know. The way we created the space was kind of to give it like a home feeling, you know, and if you look in the background, that is like our kitchen area where people can sit. It almost feels like you're around your house, around an island. Then we have like a living room TV area, and obviously the counter, and this area here, like more of a common space. So we kind of wanted to give it that home feel at the same time.
All right, Jeffrey, thank you so much. Rhina, are you excited for our new series on mom and pop coffee shops?
Absolutely, absolutely. I mean, they couldn't have come up with a better name. I mean, I am the Café con Leche. Thank you, Jericho. Oh my goodness, this is absolutely fabulous. Looking forward to trying all different types of coffee. All right, thank you once again. Mon amour. We are here back in the studio, and En Foco and the Bronx Council on the Arts has joined forces to present Subject Does Not Equal to Object, and an exhibition featuring 10 of En Foco's photography fellows. And the exhibition focuses on many contemporary societal issues such as race, identity, sexuality, urbanization, ecology, feminism, and politics. And joining us to share more are En Foco fellow artists Virginia Inés Vergara and curator Alexander Campos. Welcome.
Thank you.
I know that was like really interesting, right? I had to take a bite of this croissant. So
sure.
thank you
I'm
for
jealous.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We could share it later. We could share it later. In the meantime, welcome and thank you for the wonderful work you're doing with En Foco.
Thank you.
Let's start with you, Alexander. Let's talk about your guest curation and your participation with En Foco.
Well, first I want to give a little history about En Foco. En Foco is a wonderful organization that's been around in the Bronx for around 30 years, or even probably longer. And it was started by a group of artists who were committed to presenting and finding a niche or place to present photography by artists of African, Asian, Latin American ancestry. So it was really an important institution back in 30 years ago when artists of color had very little representation in the mainstream arts world. So En Foco started off with doing exhibitions as well as this magazine called Nueva Luz. And Nueva Luz is a journal that comes out, I believe, twice a year. Sometimes it's be out 3 times a year. And it features the work of artists, of photographers of color. And there's essays, and it's really important. So within that presentation of the magazine, it's the mini exhibition. So it's like an exhibition on paper. And with that, they had exhibitions off-site and through the places throughout different parts of the city. So it's really important. And of course, Bronx Council on the Arts runs the Longwood Gallery at Hostos, and they collaborated to do the presentation at Hostos. And it's been a wonderful experience. The artists that were selected for the exhibition were artists. En Foco gives out scholarships or fellowships to artists every year. It's a grant they receive so they could continue working. And with that grant, they get to be part of this exhibition as well as in the journal Nueva Luz. So they get multiple levels of exposure.
That's wonderful. I think it's important that we also honor every aspect of artistry, right? Because photography is pretty much our timekeeper. right? And so let's talk a little bit about your work, Virginia. Like, how do you decide what you're going to capture?
I think it takes me a really long time for projects to develop. So one of the projects I have on display evolved over 9 years. And during those 9 years, it became almost like an archive and a record. I was photographing natural history dioramas with a camera I constructed myself. And during that time period, natural history dioramas started to become obsolete. And what I wanted to do to manipulate the photos and to give them more meaning, to have the viewer get more out of them, was to remove the animals from those images. So what you're looking at is a landscape, but there's a strong sense of absence. So that came to me in a way because I had made this camera and I was trying to think what would be a good subject matter and what fit with that. And that kind of seemed like the perfect pairing in a way because it gives a really antique look to the images, which I find similar to the actual dioramas.
So how long have you been photographing?
I think I got my first camera when I was 11, or probably earlier. Those, that you would just buy in the drugstore, and you then develop the film. So as soon as I could really press a button and afford. And then I think my dad got me a little point and shoot for my birthday when I was 12 or 13.
Wow.
So.
And so you've just developed and enhanced your style of photography along with the equipment.
Yeah, I think it's been a continual exploration and about what photo can be. So actually in university, I was trained as a painter, but I loved photo so much. And so I wanted to find a way to use photography in a painterly manner. So to really construct different scenarios and not really look for a decisive moment where you point and shoot, but have this really long time of building a kind of set.
Wonderful. And just Alexander, because you're the curator, how do you determine what the style of photography becoming equivalent to the title of the exhibition, which is subject does not equal object?
Right. Well, since there are 10 different photographers and each with a different style and focusing on different issues, it's not thematically based. So how do I bring together 10 artists' work that has a conversation? So the more and more I looked at the work, the more I discussed with the artists, I realized that really it's not the actual images that's really important in the work. Not to say it's not important, but it's not the actual sitter or place that's being photographed that's important, but really the overall body of work as a whole. And it's really about the content or the issues that they're trying to express through the photography they're taking. So, for example, Virginia falls into my urban decay or urban development or ecology issues because she's looking at landscape. She actually makes these wonderful photographs that look like landscape. They're landscapes, but they're actually built. She has one series where she actually does collages, photographs, and then rescans and recollages and rephotographs. And so it builds up this layer, and it looks like the icebergs are melting, the world's coming to an end, it's all decaying, and it's about the time lapse of nature. So there's another artist named Melanie Gonzalez who also has work in the show, and she's taking photographs of cityscapes and urbanscapes and landscapes, combining them and also creating inside of a collage series with her photographs that looks at the decay of urban settings. And there's a third artist who's looking at a Japanese city that is actually decaying. It's a little town that has this wonderful soil that makes this particular non-lustrous pottery and ceramics. And people are dying out, people who make it are dying out, and the land's dying out, that soil is particularly running out. People are abandoning the city, so it's about this whole decay of a business and industry that's culturally significant to Japan, that's kind of evolvingly becoming extinct in a way. So that was one group, and then of course there was identity issues. We have a wonderful artist named Ruben Ramirez who has a series of photographs about Reese Beach and the transgender environment, and it's really about creating a safe place and identity. We have there are two artists, Tiffany Smith and Derek Winners, who are working. They do self-portraits, not almost like Cindy Sherman, and they're about putting themselves in these portraitures where they put themselves in different disguises or guises, and kind of create a mise en scène to to talk about strength, nature, identity, who are we, and so it's a diverse group of artists in the exhibition.
And what it sounds like to me, and thank you for sharing all the other artists, the contributing artists, but also just the way you've curated and the sense that you want people to walk away with, and how they're subjects, but yet they're going to make you feel a certain way that is probably what we're going through on so many levels,
Right.
politically, socially,
Right.
and so forth. So thank you once again for bringing it here to our viewers on Open. And for you guys, subject does not equal to object. Art will be on display until August 16th at Longwood Art Gallery at Hostos Community College, located at 450 Grand Concourse. And for more information, please visit enfoco.org and or bronxarts.org. We're going to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll find out how one Bronx site is preserving salsa for the younger generation in the community. Don't go anywhere.
Leaving hot coals improperly extinguished can cause a wildfire.
Hey guys, it's Smokey!
It looks as if Smokey is going to use the drown, stir, drown and feel technique. After the first drown, a good start. Next, another drink. And finally, a close feel.
Is it cool? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Smokey, catch! Oh, my bad, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
And I can't change, even if I try, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Hey, welcome back to Open, everyone. Salsa is known for its Latin flavor, rhythmic beats that, of course, entices the moves. It has and continues to be a great source of physical and cultural entertainment. Our next guest is all about preserving the culture for the next generation to come with the Salsa Project NYC, a movement keeping salsa music alive. Joining us to tell us more, please welcome Salsa Project founder Brandon, the Salsa Pops, Espinosa. Hello and welcome.
Thank
Good
you for
morning.
having me. Good morning.
Thank you for being here.
Of course.
Yeah. So first, let's start with what inspired you to create the Salsa Project.
Absolutely. So growing up in the Bronx, my mother would often take me to many of the concerts in Crotona Park, St. Mary's, Lehman. And I often noticed I was the youngest in all of these environments. And as I got older and we continued to go to these concerts, I was like, man, the only people that are really supporting the music is people from my mother's generation. So that thought just marinated with me for a while. And then in January of 2018, my daughter was born. And for me, it was very important that she knew about salsa, but more importantly, the narrative of her people and her culture. So that's when I started the project. And the ethos behind it is all about the music and the preservation of salsa, but it's greater than that, right? Salsa is a form of expression. It's a way that people release stress, but also tells a story of our people. So I started in 2018, and now we're here in July of 2019, and the project is going stronger than I ever expected.
From your perspective, what is the story of our people?
So, I think it's one of struggle, perseverance. I also think it's one where we're very prideful in where we come from and often ashamed to, stand up, stand out for what we believe in. So perfect example is, when my, wife was growing up, her parents didn't want to teach her Spanish because they wanted her to assimilate into the American culture and not have an accent, because then you would get bullied and made fun of. And I think the music of salsa and the rhythmic pattern and beats, which is rooted in Africa, Yoruba tribes, was brought to Cuba, Puerto Rico, and then the Bronx, right, where often they say El Condado de la Salsa,
right.
where Fania was formed with Johnny Pacheco and Jerry Masucci in the Mott Haven section of the Bronx, actually. So
lovely. So you give history behind it.
A little bit.
I love it. No, it's beautiful because I like to consider our people musical people, right?
Yes.
I just literally flew back from Puerto Rico yesterday, and I participated in the protests of Renuncia. And the one thing I want to say about the protesting, that when it was during the day before it became night, is that they're very musical. They were playing panderetas and tapping on cowbells, and it almost felt like a festival.
Yeah, you go to Puerto Rico during Christmas, the parrandas are everywhere, and everywhere you go, there's music, and it's what keeps people happy.
Right, but it's a style of communication is what I'm referencing, right?
Oh, for sure.
It's like, even though we're talking about the Salsa Project, and even though Salsa, when you think of it, you reference, you automatically go into referencing your body movement, but there's something else going on. It's a communication that's occurring as well.
Spiritual as well.
Yeah. Yeah, and also there's a language. The body's speaking languages, because the two partners, they have to kind of have some kind of synergy.
Correct. Yeah, no, it's the music, the clave, el bongo, the conga, the maracas, all of that comes together to form this beautiful sound and makes your body move in ways that are tough to describe, and it's really what you feel.
Yeah, it is. But again, it's also about trusting and feeling confident. So I'm assuming that you're teaching people to understand that I'm not suggesting that people don't take salsa classes, but you don't necessarily have to take salsa classes to get it.
For sure. Our project is really rooted around 4 main pillars. One of those is events, where we always do a free 1-hour salsa class, because I think it's for everyone, right? White, black, brown, pink, purple, regardless of where you come from in life. But that's just one small element. The historical element comes in the form of documentaries, which we have released 2. One was filmed in Puerto Rico, another one here in the Bronx, with Mike Amadeo from Casa Amadeo and others. And then there's the merchandise element, right? People wearing what they believe in and what they're prideful in. And then there's also a media platform that we've created around the project to elevate those that are from our communities and need a platform to amplify their voice and share more about the culture, the music, the history. So I'm really excited to see where the project goes, and the evolution has been pretty incredible. And this October we'll celebrate our 1-year anniversary since our first event last October, and we're gearing up for another big event on August 24th in the Bronx at Port Morris Distillery. So
that's wonderful. That is so wonderful, and thank you for bringing it here to our viewers, and thank you for making it your business and your mission to pass it forward to the next generation.
My pleasure.
And thank you for bringing it here. Right. Once again, you guys, for more on the Salsa Project NYC, along with the upcoming events, be sure to visit the salsaprojectnyc.com. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll hear about a baby clothing brand inspired by Hispanic heritage. Don't go nowhere.
Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. Behold the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Hey, welcome back to Open, everyone. You know, I was inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV and tweet me too at Rhina Valentin. Our next guest is an entrepreneur that decided to create non-toxic baby bodysuits inspired by Hispanic heritage, embracing the values of community, individualism, resiliency, and authenticity, while creating a legacy through her brand and believing her bodysuits are not just clothes. They hold meaning and create conversations. And here to share more on that, we welcome Ojala founder Javana Mundy. Hello, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning. So let's talk about these baby bodysuits, and let's talk about how a person even decides to just go into the business of onesies.
It was an interesting path. I actually came from working on disaster risk reduction for the military. And fashion is one of the industries that creates most damage in the world. I wanted to create something for my nephews and for all the babies in my community that was focused on who they really were, but didn't want to do damage while doing that.
And so what do you reference as damaging, fashion damage? What do you consider fashion damage?
The worst part of it is the ink process. So anytime that you're dyeing fabric, you're actually polluting all of the waterways that surround any facility that's in that process. So when you go to third world countries where a lot of manufacturing takes place, most of their waterways are damaged by the products that we consume, and with fast fashion brands becoming more popular because things are cheaper and people get rid of them quicker. And our quality has also gone down over the years in fashion. It's really easy to impact things negatively.
How did you learn about this?
So I actually worked at the Gap while working my way up to grad school. When I moved to Hawaii, that's where I worked for the FBI and the Department of Defense. I started looking at disaster reduction. And in the back of my mind was always an admiration, I would say, for the Gap, because they were one of the first to really start tracking the impact that fashion has on communities.
Isn't that amazing how we just kind of just freely purchase clothes without even knowing how it's impacting the people who are making them?
Yeah.
So it's lovely that you're opening up this consciousness, and thank you for sharing it with our viewers. And let's talk about your process, right? Because one of the other things that I noticed about your organization is like the quality of the material is also an important factor.
Yes.
So let's talk about that.
So if you feel the material is actually a lot heavier than anything that's on the market, and it has a blend of spandex inside, and then we do hand printing only in the Bronx. We support a local print house, Eric Michael, which is amazing, and our inks are water-based, so that's when the non-toxic comes in as well.
Right, and so how is one able to identify ink from being non-toxic?
It has to be sold and purchased as such. Otherwise,
so
it has
needs
plastic
to be identified
inside.
as such in its label.
Yes.
In its labeling. Okay, so now let's talk about these symbols.
The designs.
Yes.
So the first one here is folklorico, and folklorico is a nod to our African heritage and our passion for music. So you guys were just talking about salsa. That would be a part of that. This one here is our chacabana. It's inspired by my grandparents and the duality, but at the end of the day, how a lot of the elders in the Caribbean use the chacabana or the guayabera to honor that heritage.
Oh my gosh, that's so cute.
Yeah.
Guayanera.
Guayabera, yeah. And then,
Guayabera.
This is Diosa Luna. So Diosa Luna is a Taino goddess. It was really popular with the Tainos of Dominican Republic, but it's becoming more known. And I write a poem. So if you look at the packaging, this is how I package every piece. And there's a poem that's different for each design. And the poem for this one talks about the connection between women, the moon, and the process of motherhood.
And I also understand that you designed these specifically to create a conversational piece, right? And also, I love the orgullo behind it, right? The pride in which these children are already being raised into.
Yes. So I think for me as a social entrepreneur, I do a lot of community service, and I advocate for NYCHA, public transportation, and also clothes Rikers. And this, to me, is a way to help the next generation hold on to that heritage. And it's been proven that as children hold on to their heritage, they're more likely to grow up with self-esteem that's higher, be more productive, and be more successful. So I wanted people, especially in my community of Mott Haven, to have a tool to help them do that and start the conversation.
Okay, and so before we go, let's just share about your future goals.
So I have been really focused on those three areas, I would say, for community development. And the one that's taking up the most attention right now is the borough-based jail. So I've been involved for the last 7 months in developing the investment plan that's actually going to be attached, the jail that's going to come to my neighborhood. And we're addressing everything from education shortfalls to repairing NYCHA facilities and creating a youth hub and creating better transportation options. So I wish I could do more of everything, but I'm one person.
No,
so
of
I think
course.
this is just an extension of my values as a human being.
I think it's lovely, and thank you for your contribution.
No, thank you.
To
Thanks
our
for
world,
having
to our
us.
society,
Yeah,
absolutely.
gracias.
And look, passing it on to the next generation as they're coming into the world.
Yes.
Bravo, good for you.
Gracias.
Gracias a usted. All right, you guys, once again, to find these one-of-a-kind cultural baby bodysuits, go to ojalathreads.com. We have to take a quick break, but when we return, we'll talk to one of New York City's rising actresses. Don't go anywhere.
Well, Thomas, you've got pre-diabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have pre-diabetes. Big time.
Hey, welcome back to Open, everyone. Our next guest is an actress who identifies herself as an artist that uses her many talents for storytelling. She's an alum from Pace University's Actors Studio Drama School and a producer. She produced her first series in 2017 entitled The Passed Down Project and recently debuted her first solo show, Mama's 19. Here to share more about her career stories and upcoming projects, please welcome actress and producer Javana Mundy. Hello.
Hi, how are you?
So are you one of those that prefers to be referred to as an actor or an actress?
Actor.
You're good with actor.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah, I like using that term too, but just to be safe, we made it feminine.
Yeah.
Because, you know, it's a matter of opinion, it's a matter of taste, but,
Yeah.
you know. But that's good to know. So for me, moving forward, we will refer to you as an actor.
Yes.
I love your story, and I just really want to introduce you to our guests, understanding that your background is that of artistry, right? Because most people go into the acting field, and they just go into the acting field to become famous.
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not, for me, that's not why I got into it. I mean, initially I started out in fashion, actually. I worked in fashion. I worked for a multitude of different fashion houses, one of them being Billionaire Boys Club and Ice Cream by Pharrell Williams. And I kind of built a network of people. I was surrounded by artists, and prior to me going into fashion, I was always performing. So it was just an opportunity. New York created that ground for me to just want to go for it. So I went back and I got my MFA, and that's how I really started in the whole thing. But I wanted to always be an artist and a storyteller. That's really what it's about for me.
I love it, right? And so that's really where the craft is born.
Yeah.
It's born from being a storyteller, because everybody's telling a story in whatever respective field they choose to do so. It's just a consciousness and understanding that this is what I'm doing.
Right.
Right? And then there's the ones that actually write it.
Exactly. There is. Being a person of color, especially a Black woman of color, it's very important to write our stories. There wasn't that many stories being told when I got into the field. Still, we have a long way to go, but it was really important to me that I became a part of that narrative and told some of these stories. I mean, I was looking for work, and there's only but so many roles out there. So
I get you. I get you more than you understand, than you even know, because we're just getting to know each other. But there's that aspect of being at the mercy of someone casting you, be it a director, a casting director, and a producer, right?
Right.
And so what you did is you created your own work. and possibly work for other individuals, right? Because once you write it, then that's it. There's the opportunity. Of course, you got to find the funding and the producing and and all that other great stuff. But at least the groundwork has been laid out.
Right, and that's where Passed Down Project initially came from. I started that in the beginning. I wanted to figure out, okay, how do I get into production? How do I get into writing? How do I work with different directors and writers? And so I wanted to work with people of color. So I was like, let me just create something. Let me create a platform, and I'll start from there. And we'll tell these narratives that aren't being told. We'll tell new storytelling, and we'll kind of work from there. And then along the way, I realized I wanted to kind of hone in on what is my story and, you know, tell that narrative too. So that's how I went into creating Mama's 19.
Right, I was going to ask you, that title's interesting. What's the deal? Who's Mama's 19? And
So Mama's 19 started, basically I found these works that were published works that were written by my mother in my grandmother's basement when she passed away. And I always heard from the family she was an amazing writer. My mother stopped writing when she had me. She felt like, you know, that it was a different time, and she felt like that's what she needed to do. She needed to take care of me, and that was it. And I found that she was extremely talented, and I wanted to encourage her artist side because she stopped all of that for me, which to this day, you know.
Honey. No, thank you for just being with it, because it's so beautiful that you honor her.
That was what it was. It was just,
beautiful.
it was an ode to my family, to my ancestors, to my mother. And I wanted to get her back writing. So that's how this whole story came about. And through that, I learned so much about my family and my history. I'm still learning. It's still actually being workshopped, and I plan to put it up next year.
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you.
I'm sure she is shining so much light upon you right about now.
Oh, my mom is here. She's alive.
Oh, I'm like, wait,
she's alive.
Wait,
she's alive.
Who passed away?
My grandmother.
Oh, your grandmother,
My grandmother passed away.
Oh, let me get that right. Nice to see your mom. Oh my goodness. I'm like, oh.
But within the narrative too, it's about Black women and it's about Black mothers and just in general the trauma that comes from slavery and the trauma that comes from the history of our country. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, and I kind of dove into mental health, wellness.
That's our biggest crisis in the United States.
Yeah.
That's what I say to everybody.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to start creating these conversations, and this was my way of connecting with that.
That's beautiful, beautiful. Good for you, because you also bring in that social consciousness into your work. And so before we go, let's talk about your upcoming projects.
Sure. I'm actually going to be in a new series for Brick TV called Sauce. I'll be playing the character Alyssa. It's actually going to be showing at the Hip Hop Film Festival coming up in August. I'm in a new play coming out called Stillbirth. It's a play about just all the different things that women go through in pregnancy loss. So I'll be working with that play at the Rogue Theater Festival, and also the Dream Theater Festival, which is also coming up in August. And I'll just be in the works of developing more work. I'm working on my pilot for Morbid Mo, which is a show that I've developed about a quirky little girl from the city who comes from foster care, because I worked in foster care too. So
that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you for bringing it here to our viewers.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, no, and I just want to acknowledge you for choosing the path of just shedding light on mental health, because for me, mental health is a topic that we need to keep having conversations about in all forms.
Conversation and action.
And action, right, absolutely, action. But when you're shedding it, when you're presenting it in that therapeutic form of being entertained, you're actually healing people, you know, whether they realize it or not. And so let's just keep having that conversation.
Definitely.
You keep producing the work that you're doing, sister. And thank you for bringing it here to our viewers. Once again, you guys, for more on Javana's upcoming projects, please make sure to visit her website at javanamundy.com. All right, stay tuned, you guys. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
This is Bobby C. out at the big ballpark in the Bronx. He may not play for the Mets anymore, but Travis d'Arnaud still knows how to hit in New York. The Tampa Bay Rays catcher tonight, 3 home runs and all 5 RBIs.
It was fun to be up 1-0. That's my first leadoff homer ever. You know, I just started hitting leadoff, and then that last at bat. I mean, Chapman's a really good pitcher. I got lucky and hit the ball in the barrel and put us in the lead, fortunately.
Well, when I saw him taking the off speed in the dirt and fouling off 100, I figured, I was like, I think he's locked in. And then when he threw curveball, slide, whatever you want to call it, on the corner, and he hit it, I was like, it could go, but I don't know. And then it went, and then everyone freaked out. And yeah, I mean, he was locked in. You could tell from the first at bat, second at bat.
Yeah, he was taking some really good pitches, you know, especially that last at bat against Chappie. Taking some sliders in the dirt, just really good takes, you know, and then just putting good swings on the ball.
Paxton was saying how you did a great job of laying off some of those pitches early in the game, then also with Chapman, the sliders in the dirt, gave you credit for having a keen eye, and thought that contributed to you hitting the home runs tonight too.
Yeah, I think just the staying short approach helps me see the ball a little longer, so I don't have to cheat or anything. So like I said, Mottola has been a huge help for me, and I'll try to just keep it going as long as I can.
Ooh, Yankee killer. Mets fans have to be scratching their heads. d'Arnaud hit 3 home runs, including a startling 3-run shot with 2 outs in the 9th inning off Chapman, and the Rays overcame their Yankee Stadium woes to beat New York 5-4 on Monday night. But no worries. The Bronx Bombers responded on Tuesday night. Aaron Judge provided the fireworks with a blast in the 8th. Didi Gregorius added a grand slam, and all was back on track for the first-place Yankees, who wrapped their series with Tampa on Thursday. Up next, the Bombers welcome Colorado to the stadium this weekend. The Mets, meanwhile, continue their 4-game West Coast weekend swing in San Francisco. They'll be back in New York on Tuesday to host San Diego. Over in the NBA, the Thunder are starting over in an unprecedented way by sending Paul George to the LA Clippers and Russell Westbrook to the Houston Rockets. Oklahoma City is becoming the first team to ever trade 2 reigning All-NBA players in the same offseason. The Thunder are the first team in decades to trade even 2 reigning All-Stars in the same offseason. The sequence appears clear. George requested a trade. Oklahoma City granted it. With 1 star gone, the Thunder had less ability to win with Westbrook, so they dealt him 2. But if George didn't request a trade this summer, Westbrook might have been moved soon anyway, according to reports. End of an era in OKC. Chris Paul is making a stopover in Oklahoma City. The Rockets sent him there for George, but the competitive 34-year-old point guard doesn't want to be part of a long rebuilding project. He wants to be traded again before the season starts. Can you blame him? His preference, Miami, according to ESPN. There, CP3 would team up with Jimmy Butler. Miami is open to the idea, but was, hung up this entire time because of the discussion of draft picks. Brandon Clark made his mark in Las Vegas. The number 21 pick in June out of Gonzaga averaged 14.6 points, 8.6 rebounds, and 1.6 blocks per game in leading the Memphis Grizzlies to the championship game. And for all of that, he was named the Las Vegas Summer League Most Valuable Player. That award has been won by Damian Lillard, Blake Griffin, and John Wall, but also Josh Shelby and Glenn Rice Jr. Most winners of the award had good careers as role players: Randy Foye, Jared Bayless, etc. Clark added 15 points and 16 rebounds in the championship game, leading the Grizzlies past the Timberwolves 95-92. Memphis, not the Knicks, as Vegas projected, is your 2019 NBA Summer League champions. We can't even win the Summer League title. The WNBA has suspended the Los Angeles Sparks' Raquana Williams for 10 games as a result of a domestic violence incident involving her ex-girlfriend in December. In April, Williams was arrested on felony charges of burglary with assault or battery and aggravated assault with a deadly weapon without intent to kill stemming from the December incident. Police records show she struck her ex-girlfriend in the head and pulled her hair after she opened the front door of her house on December 6th. After a man at the home broke up the altercation, Williams reportedly went to her car and pulled out a gun, pointed it in the man's direction, and said, "You'll get all 18," before leaving the scene. Yikes. The criminal case is ongoing. Sad news in the world of boxing. Former U.S. World Champion Pernell "Sweet Pea" Whitaker has died after being hit by a vehicle in Virginia Beach, Virginia, according to police. He was only 55 years old. Whitaker was a world champion in 4 divisions: WBC lightweight, IBF lightweight welterweight, WBC welterweight, and WBA light middleweight. He retired in 2001 after compiling a 40-4-1 record, including 17 knockouts, and later worked as a trainer. A member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, Whitaker was named Boxer of the Year by Ring Magazine in 1989. He also won an Olympic gold medal in 1984. Whitaker was pronounced dead at a Virginia Beach intersection on Sunday night after police were called to the scene of an incident, a police report said. The driver of the vehicle remained at the scene, and the incident is still under investigation. Dwight Gooden said he became hooked on cocaine during the Mets World Series championship season in 1986 and missed the team's victory parade as he sat in a drug dealer's apartment. The former Major League pitcher and always a good friend of our program was arrested last month on suspicion of possession of cocaine, according to a complaint. According to that complaint, the 54-year-old had 2 small plastic baggies containing suspected cocaine in his possession when he was stopped for a traffic violation on June 7th in New Jersey. He's also being charged with possession of drug paraphernalia and driving under the influence. A prosecutor's spokesman told the New York Post that Gooden had been pulled over for driving too slowly on a highway and for failing to maintain the lane. The 1985 Cy Young Award winner has struggled with drug and alcohol addiction over the years. He was suspended from baseball for part of the 1994 season and all of the 1995 season after testing positive for cocaine. He has been arrested several times and served jail time in 2006 for drug use. A court date in Gooden's case is scheduled for July 23rd. His attorney asked that the public reserve judgment on the case. On to better baseball news. Former Yankees closer Mariano Rivera will be inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame this weekend. He is the first unanimous selection to the Hall in baseball history. But first, Delta Airlines dedicated gate number 42 at JFK Airport to Rivera this past week. The gate was renamed the Mariano Rivera Gate, of course. Delta, the Yankees' official airline since 2008, is also dedicating a 757 aircraft to Rivera, which includes his Hall of Fame inscription. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list to talk Mo and one of the best Hall of Fame classes in quite some time. The first unanimous inductee in the history of the National Baseball Hall of Fame leads the class of 6 being enshrined this weekend in Cooperstown. The Hall has been inducting baseball's greatest since the eye-popping first class of Babe Ruth, Honus Wagner, Walter Johnson, Christy Mathewson, and Ty Cobb all the way back in 1936. But in his first year of eligibility, closer Mariano Rivera was the first to appear on every single baseball writer's ballot. Honestly, I can't see it any other way. For almost 2 decades, Metallica's Enter Sandman in the 9th inning at Yankee Stadium almost always meant one thing: the Bronx Bombers were about to ice the game. Rivera, the all-time saves leader, won 5 World Series with the Yankees over 19 years before retiring in 2013. He's a 13-time All-Star with a 2.21 ERA, all stats that brought the wiry son of a Panamanian fisherman to baseball immortality, largely thanks to his unhittable cutter. Rivera was even better in October, folks. We know this. The game's greatest closer pitched in 96 postseason games, saving 42 games. Of course he did, 42 games, with a 0.70 earned run average. With Rivera the closest thing to perfection. It's a curious case to rank this particular Hall of Fame class. Also being inducted Sunday at the Clark Sports Center are Lee Smith, Edgar Martinez, Roy Halladay posthumously, Harold Baines, and Mike Mussina. Rivera and Mussina were righty teammates on the Yankees after Moose came over from Baltimore. Over 18 seasons, the starter relied on precision off-season pitches to rack up 2,813 career strikeouts. He finished in the top 6 in Cy Young voting 9 times. Mussina, who was known for his even demeanor, tried to avoid hurt feelings in New York or Baltimore by opting for a blank hat on his plaque. Very classy. More than 50 Hall of Famers will be heading to upstate New York for the ceremony, but it carries some melancholy. Halladay, a two-time Cy Young Award winner who was one of the most dominant pitchers of his era, died in a plane crash in 2017. In 2010, he threw 2 no-hitters for the Phillies, a playoff no-no against the Reds, and a perfect game against Miami in May. He's also going in with a blank hat. Add in arguably the greatest DH of all time in Martinez and 2 of the game's most underrated players in Smith and Baines, and this one is one hell of a class. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.
Hey, welcome back to Open, everyone. It's now time for this week's Open Artist Spotlight. Our next guest is a spoken word poet, songwriter, and MC from the Boogie Down BX. He draws inspiration from and to his community. He's the founder and creative director of an artist collective music group called DOE, Dreams of Everything, and he's all about inspiring the youth through his music and workshops. Here now to perform Money off his upcoming album, Pinstripe Kid. Please welcome Samson!
DX, stand up. This is for those who are materialistic. This also relates to what's going on in Puerto Rico right now, but we're not going to even talk about that. I'm going to let the words speak for themselves. Do you do this for yourself? Do you do this for others? What is your purpose? I ask you this. Do you do this for the people? Do you do this for the ego? Do you do this to be equal? Or you care about his money? Do you do this for the people? Do you do this for the ego? Do you do this to be equal? Or you care about his money? Care about his money? Or you really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Or you really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Or you really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Money. Do you do this for you or you do this for us? Are you ready for the revolution or what? Hope you prepared for the war on us, cause they trying to take us out in every second. But remember that you're destined to achieve what needs to be so that we could be able to free our people from these mental cuffs. As a society has had enough, I said it's time to knock. If you buck for the crime mobs who be showing up, cause the truth is, who cares about fame when we should have been worried about change? Instead about the whips and chains and chicks and the cars that be switching lanes. It's so insane that we going through pain while others' minds are making it rain and sipping champagne, forgetting that we are the champions. I'm a king, so I roll like I'm Sammy's son. Got a lyrical gun, I never carried a gat, but these words always weigh a ton. Ready to blast at these hyenas. Young Simba on a mission, and my roar is a 9mm. And I'm trying to lead you to understand that without our presence, it's for future at hand. So, do you do this for the people? Do you do this for the ego? Do you do this to be equal? Or you care about his money? Do you do this for the people? Do you do this for your ego? Do you do this to be equal? Or you care about his money? Care about his money? Or you really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Or you really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Or you really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Money.
So you care about.
I really want to know, who do you do it for? Is it all for show or is it from your soul? I really gotta know.
What?
Is it from the heart or is it for the love? Or is it for the drugs? Is it for the women in the clubs, popping them bottles and smoking them dubs? Or are you here to make a difference? Tell me, what's your mission? Riding these wheels like Michelin in the highway and we lane switching for the better days and the better night, for this better life. Do this for those who need the light in the darkness. You can still see the sight. It's not about the jewels, it's about the fuse between them and you. Don't get it confused. It's not about the juice, it's about what you do. Homie, what's your purpose? Tell me, was it worth it? Are you focused on the whips and swerving? Or there's food for thought I'm serving? Be a king, not a servant. Be deeper than the surface. Discover your true reason. Do you embody art? Or is it just for a season? Could you tell me, homie? Do you do this for the people? Do you do this for the ego? Do you do this to be equal? Care about his money? What up, Ricky? Do you do this for the people? Or you care about his money? Care about his money? Or you really, really, really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Or you really, really, really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Or you really, really, really care about his money? Or you care about his money? Money, money, money. You a funny homie.
Facts.
And that goes to all a message to y'all. Stop doing things for the money, do it for the heart. And that goes for politics too. Thank you.
Samson, everyone! That's it. That's right. Or as we say here at Open, live purposefully.
That is a fact.
Purposefully. Oh, yeah, hey, Rey, how about that?
Indeed.
He a king. He a
Thank
king.
you.
King Samson! Woo, Samson!
I appreciate you.
No,
Much-
welcome back, welcome back. Mira,
I love
I'm
it
chill with you.
here.
I'm going to rock with you. I'm like,
Come on.
yeah, let's just
We
talk
about to
like
rock
this.
the stage together.
Ya
Come
tú
on.
sabes, ya tú sabes. Tell us where
Gracias,
you're going to be
mama.
performing.
On August 17th, we actually have a showcase at the legendary New Yorican Poets Cafe.
Love.
It's called Dream Stage Volume 1. Make sure you guys come and support. Tickets are online. They're $10 in advance. And we have a lot of emerging artists from New York City coming to perform. And, you know, we got to do it for Puerto Rico, so we're going to be at the New York, too.
That's
so
it. That's it.
Make sure that you guys are there.
Yeah. Also, before we go, I want to make sure that we just share a little bit about Sick.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
let's talk about Sick, because I just love the fact that you're out there making a difference to the next generation and for the next generation, which seems to be the theme of today's show. It's about
Indeed.
passing it on to the next generation.
Well, it's ironic. Well, you know, I met you about 1.5 years ago, and the Sick Project was in the works. I actually took a hiatus and put the project on the back burner. I wanted to tell my story first before dropping Sick, so that's what this process is about. This project that I'm about to drop is called Pinstripe Kid, and it's kind of like a prelude into the Saving Inner City Kids project, so I'm truly excited for that.
So just so you guys know, that's what the SICK is the acronym for Saving Inner City Kids.
Yes.
Yeah,
And it's
love
a
it.
community hip hop album that I've been working on for about 2 years, and I'm gladly taking my time with it. But everybody stay tuned. We're going to drop some new music, and then Sick will be coming out soon. So I'm truly excited for that.
Yo, that's
I'm so hyped.
Samson, I just said, Sick Samson! Woo!
Yo, this is my, yo, you the best. You the best. I swear, I love your energy always. Shout out to the VX one more time. Everybody, stop doing it for the money, remember.
All right, Samson. Woo! All right, you guys, for more information on Samson, make sure to check him out on Facebook and Instagram at Samson Poet. That is our show today, mi gente. Thanks so much for coming through. To you, our viewers, for tuning in. If you missed any part of the show, you can check out the recable cast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rhina Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor, adios, and remember, don't do it for the money. Where's the music? Don't do it for the money.
Yes, all right. Yo, she gonna be on the remix, y'all. She gonna be on the remix.
People. For the ego.